More analysis. With me now is CTV News political commentator and former Director of Communications of Prime Minister Paul Martin, Scott Reid. Scott, good morning and thanks for your time. So,
Good morning.
What do you make of the deal? The Prime Minister calls it a landmark agreement. Has Mark Carney delivered on resetting the relationship with China?
It certainly looks that way. I mean, this is a much bigger than anticipated breakthrough on trade with China. But because it is so much bigger, it also brings bigger, larger, less predictable risks. And so we see some immediate domestic political risks with the clips you're just showing from Doug Ford. He's sure to find a microphone and camera at some point today. I expect he'll tee off on the deal. But there is, as you mentioned in the opening, there is also the risk of how this plays with the White House. Or maybe that's exactly what Carney is going for by permitting the importation of Chinese electric vehicles. Perhaps he is trying to capture the attention of Donald Trump and reset some of the leverage around those CUSMA talks.
Speaking about Donald Trump, in your view, what sort of a reaction could this trigger from the United States? I mean, the auto sector, as we understand, has already been punished so badly from Donald Trump. And with CUSMA negotiations around the corner, what could one really expect?
Well, it's always difficult to make a prediction when it comes to Trump, but
True.
I would expect he's going to disapprove of the fact that cheaper but higher quality electric vehicles from China are now finding their way, albeit only 50,000 or so of them, into the North American marketplace. That is something he does not want. He has been categorical about that. But again, you're faced with this really strange choice where Trump is saying, on the one hand, I'm going to deny you access to the United States market. I'm not buying your goods anymore. I don't want your stuff. But I'm also going to resent you when you go off to the likes of China, India, and other markets and try to strike deals to sell your goods there or to build up relations. I think Carney is hoping that this will upset Trump in a very real way, in that Trump will want to stop it. And so Carney's argument, I think, might be to Trump at the CUSMA table, at the Free Trade for North America table, is to say, well, if you want me to halt the schedule of increased numbers of Chinese electric vehicles, then you're going to have to play on the issue of the Canadian and American auto sector. You're going to have to come to the table on CUSMA. You're going to have to give, not just take. Maybe that'll work, maybe that won't. But it feels to me like Carney's decided to be bolder because he is clearly risking angering the President of the United States.
The Prime Minister did say, though, that we have to convince the Americans this is just about 3% when it comes to the auto sector in Canada with those EVs coming in. But, Scott, my last question about the Prime Minister also saying something, and it stood out for me. He said that China is our new strategic partner. But the deal is China is also strategic partners with countries like Russia, like Iran. So what does that mean for issues like human rights and foreign interference?
Well, nothing positive. But again, this is all driven by the United States. This is all driven by Donald Trump and his tariff policy. If he is going to raise the drawbridge on countries like Canada, on the EU, on the United Kingdom, then he leaves those allies with little option other than to go and try to strike strategic dialogues with the likes of China and India. And you can't have it both ways. Or if you try to have it both ways, you may suffer consequences. I mean, it's not just Canada. You know, the UK Prime Minister is going to be headed to China in April. You're going to see a similar dynamic. Doug Ford, I should say, Donald Trump is driving his allies into the open, waiting arms of China. We may know what's waiting for us, but we still have little choice other than to do it.
CTV News political commentator Scott Reid. Thank you for this, Scott.
Thank you.